Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Monday the 9th of October 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished up 0.2% today to 6,970 points, although earlier in the day it came close to breaking through that 7,000 point mark. The energy and gold stocks pushed the market higher as the prices of oil and precious metals rose. Woodside and Santos were up 3% and 4% respectively. Big users of oil didn't do so well. Qantas, for example, its share price fell 3%. The banks did well with all 4 rising. Recently, there's been a few analysts around the place upgrading their forecast for bank earnings. Fortescue Metals was the worst performer of the very large stocks. It fell a couple of percent. Magellan Financial Group dropped another 7%. Its precipitous fall in recent days means it's now the smallest of the top 200 in terms of market capitalisation, worth just $1.2 billion. In corporate news, share registry company and superannuation administrator Link Group has completed the sale of its troubled UK business. Last financial year, Link lost $418 million after making big provisions for the settlement of action by the UK Financial Conduct Authority over the subsidiary's management of the collapsed LF Woodford Equity Income Fund. Link has sold that subsidiary to an Irish company. Story number 2, the situation in Israel is changing by the hour, but it's clear there's now been hundreds of deaths on both sides after Israel retaliated for Hamas's incursion into its territory over the weekend. Hamas also has an unknown number of Israeli hostages. Tel Aviv called on residents of Israel near the Gaza Strip to evacuate, while tens of thousands of Palestinians have taken shelter in schools in the area. The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting over the past 24 hours with the United States demanding all 15 members strongly condemn these heinous terrorist attacks, but the Council took no immediate action. Both China and Russia said they condemned any killing of civilians, and China called for an immediate ceasefire and reiterated its support for an independent Palestinian state. Iran said it wasn't involved in the attack, but supports the action. Story number 3, there are board changes at Myer, with the chair, Joanne Stevenson, retiring after 7 years as a director at the department store, and a couple of new non-executive directors up for election. The Myer board isn't exactly a cushy job, given the very active Solomon Lew owns 29% of the company. Stevenson has had quite a few battles with Lew. She'll be replaced by Ari Mervis from November 9. Also standing is head of Qantas Loyalty, Olivia Worth, who missed out on the top job at the national carrier, and well-known businessman Gary Weiss. Both are supported by Lew. Myer is also on the lookout for a new CEO, with boss John King leaving next year. Since its peak in early March, Myer's share price has more than halved. Story number 4, the Clean Energy Council, the peak body for the sector, said Australia needs a $100 billion transformation package to get back on track. That's the spend over the next decade if the country wants to be 82% renewable by 2030. The Council wants a renewable energy superpower master plan for full decarbonisation by 2035, long-term mechanisms to drive increased investment in large-scale projects, and new national targets for rooftop solar and distributed energy storage. Nuclear isn't mentioned. And story number 5, Kiwis go to the poll this weekend, and Prime Minister Chris Hipkins says a change in government would be a missed opportunity to deepen trans-Tasman relations. No doubt Hipkins and Anthony Albanese get on better than Jacinta Ardern and Scott Morrison. Those two didn't agree on much, certainly not on China, not on Pacific nations, and there's also a stoush over the deportation of New Zealand citizens born in Australia. Hipkins' Labor government is facing defeat, though. At least that's the case if the polls are correct, as voters vent over the cost of living crisis, increased crime and poor infrastructure. The centre-right National Party is headed by former Air New Zealand Chief Executive Christopher Luxton. That's it for the afternoon report for Monday the 9th of October 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.